us with knives, people pulling guns on us. We had, and that was back in the days. We could say we were even attacked with the old glass ashtrays and stuff like that.
Oh, really? Back
then as well.
Days, yeah.
So yeah, chairs, you name it, and some of the sizes of incidents were, it's pretty big. So it's completely my art that's kept me alive, without a doubt. So yeah, it's
what sort of things from like your training can you take into real life situations?
Situational awareness was the biggest thing, and I learnt a lot of that through bodyguard courses that I was doing at the time, and just sort of when you teach, you start to understand fights on a different level. I think a lot of people do anyway, and you start to be able to look at the psychology of fighting. I mean, that's half the battle. I mean, if you can, we were very proud to sort of say, even in the violent times, if you could talk someone down, you would.
Yeah.
But because it was so violent, you knew damn well that there was going to be a huge amount that you're not going to be able to talk down.
I suppose it's the drink as well. Once people have had a few drinks, you can't talk them down, can you?
No. So you do your best, but that's all you can do. And then once it hits the fan, you know that you've got to do something about it. And when you're potentially fighting with sort of 3 or 4 doormen against, we've had situations with up to 30 odd people, with 4 of us, and it'd be one.
How can you deal with that with so many people?
You tend to use people as shields.
Oh, right.
You have to be a bit clever.
Explain us through that one.
Well, it's strategy. I mean, there was one situation in a pub where my radio went down, and there was 12 guys that were having a fight in the dance floor. So I've gone into it on my own, and I know you shouldn't. But at the end of the day, it's like I say, if you're going to do a job, do it. Yeah. You see that same sort of thing as every other situation. You see doormen that are just jacket fillers, and it kicks off, and you find them hiding in the toilet, and you go, well, you're on your own then. So it's one of them things that you sort of you make a call and you go, right, I'm going to go in there. You don't have to. You make a choice. So stop other people getting hurt. You go in, you try and talk it down, and instead of de-escalating, it escalates. So it's one situation. These 12 guys were all friends at the beginning of the night, and then started fighting over a couple of girls, and that was it. Carnage on the dance floor. I've gone in, got the first guy out, locked him up, and as I'm trying to take him out and sort of dissipate it a little bit, because he was the sort of most fiery one. He was the instigator. Yeah. So I thought, get the fuel out of it, and maybe it will start to calm. So I'm taking him towards the door, and then they start to attack me. So the next one's come in, and I've locked 2 guys together. So I've got these 2 bums sticking out as shields initially.
But to keep the rest at bay.
So I'm then starting to get into a bit where I know there's a double door into a little hallway where I can start to funnel it. Next thing, another guy's coming in. He's trying to go for it. Another 2 on the dance floor are fighting each other. One of them's taking his belt off, and I thought, what the hell is he going to do now? And because it just looked like a flimsy belt, but he'd sharpened up the buckle, hit his mate down to the bone across the head. And then next thing, his mate with his head open, going for me with a glass, and it was absolute carnage. So I basically got these 3 guys that I'd got locked up, and as I was funneling out the double door, got down the hallway, and all these other guys are trying to get over the top, and one of them got close, so I ended up getting his arm locked up in it. So I've got these guys' 4 arms, and so these bums are just jammed in the hallway as I'm going down the hallway. And then again, all the other guys are pushing and trying to get over the top and trying to get to me. So I've nudged my bum on the double fire door as I've got to the end of the hall. And just outside the fire door, the queue to the pub was just alongside where the door was. So I've gone jumping out, took the leg of the front guy and just dumped the first 4.
Yeah.
But because the guys were all like bunched up against him, they all fell on top of him. It was just like this pile of bodies. These 12
so they
bodies.
tripped over the rest of the bodies.
Tripped over, and I've gone back and I'm like that, and there's a queue there off to my left, and they're all looking around going, so they all thought, oh, he's took 12 guys out, and you sort of could say I did, but they took themselves out really. Yeah. So that's it. I mean, if you can use 2 or 3 people, against 12, and you're funneling down somewhere that they ain't going to get past. It's just trying to use your surroundings and use strategy a little bit and queue people up behind each other. If you're fighting 2 people there instead of 2 people there, then you're fighting in three dimensions rather than queuing them up behind each other. So it's a bit of strategy.
How do you find it from sort of transferring from sort of real life situations, your martial arts, and then having to transfer it again into sort of film fights?
Yeah. I mean, it's
like a transition.
Yeah, there is definitely. I mean, you find there's a moment in a real situation where you're ready, but you're still trying to de-escalate. You're still trying to control it in a different way, and the minute you know that's not working, you've got to flip a switch. It's literally like flipping a switch, and that's the thing, because we know that we start to work in a way that we don't want to become violent, so we try and take it down in other ways. It's the same with films. We're never able to flip that switch because we don't get angry. We don't let emotions guide us. We don't let even there's no threat to guide us. There's all these things that are sort of inherent in how we deal with these situations that makes it that you never flip that switch on a film set. So it's all about a different principle. It's all about
controlled.
I mean, fight stuff for films. You've got to think in terms of if you look at really good fighters, they're so enclosed that you'd never see anything on film. If they're filming over the shoulder and someone's hitting and keeping covered up in the middle, when they're doing an over the shoulder shot, you're just going to see shoulders shrugging like this. So you end up on film signposting stuff to tell. You've got to tell the story of a fight. Right. You've got to show the audience.
So what, you're sort of like exaggerating your real moves?
It's stuff that's terrible for reality.
Yeah.
So that's what kicks you out of even remotely sort of thinking of it as being real, because you have to be able to go, right, make everything just a little bit bigger so the camera can see it, make it a different angle so the camera can see it. And like I say, some of the things that when you signpost something, it might be really subtle. It might just be like a little movement like this that you'd never do. You'd never signpost on this in a real situation. But on film, you go into the audience, look at me, I'm about to hit him. And then you throw it, and you put all your body sort of dynamics into it to look powerful. And so you're creating the illusion that you're telling them it, you're doing it, you're making it powerful, and then if their reaction is powerful, then you've sold it.
So really, then in a movie set scenario, let's say a champion boxer, they necessarily wouldn't fit that slot because it wouldn't be seen properly on the film.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've worked with boxers and many martial artists, and the minute you say to them, just open your guard up a little bit, just move this arm here, and they're going, yeah, but that's crap. And you go, yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Wait till you see it. Wait till you see it, and they go, oh Christ, can't believe how good it looks. And the minute they're realistic, everything's so covered up, you just don't see it. It's too subtle, it's too compact, it's meant for reality. You're not telling the story of a fight, and then that's when you end up with films that are sort of guerrilla cut, because they've got to hide the fact that it's just too fast, too frantic, too hidden, too covered up. So you have no choice but to cut it guerrilla style.
Yeah. You've obviously met a lot of famous people and actors on sets.
Yeah, a few, yeah.
Who's been the most sort of friendliest and nicest actor you've ever met?
I think for me, it's probably Charles Dance. I mean, I've always liked the guy. Everything he's done, he's been phenomenal. But to actually work with him, coordinate him in a fight and spend time with him, even he'd come and sit and talk to you at lunchtime and have lunch with you and stuff like that, and just chatting away on set. And the guy just oozes, something. It's like he's got this aura about him that's just. It's not just that gentleman that you see in him. He's like your mate.
Yeah.
Even the first time I met him, I've gone, holy crap, it's Charles Dance. I go, morning. And he's going, morning, I'm Charles Dance. I said, I know who you are. I'm a huge fan. I said, he said, call me Charlie. I said, I can't possibly call you Charlie. He goes, no, please, call me Charlie. And I'm thinking, flipping heck, I've got to call him Charlie. It's Charles Dance, can't call him that. And we had a lot of fun. I mean, just charisma. He's just such an amazing guy. Just the way he holds himself, the way he talks, just even in every single situation, doesn't matter what he's talking about. It's just.
Do you get many
cool.
actors sort of nice and approachable, or do you get a lot of them always? They always get the impression actors would be like arrogant or.
Yeah, I mean. Sometimes you do get a little bit disappointed, but you got to always tell yourself, these guys are under a huge amount of pressure. The film's hanging on them. They might be method actors, so they're trying to stay in character, so they don't want to talk to people because they don't want to be disrupted from being in that character. So it's trying to sort of understand the pressure that they're having as well, because it's to learn their lines, to be that character, to stay in that character. Even if you've got people coming up to you every 5 minutes, going, "Oh, hello, mate."
Yeah, and you've got to concentrate.
It's got to be super hard for them. I mean, I do very little acting. And so I get a tiny little snippet of what they have to learn and what they have to do. Because as a stunter, you obviously you do a little bit of acting here and there. You do a few lines here and there. Even it's very little sometimes, but you still feel a different sort of pressure. Yeah. I mean, it's still, it hangs on you, and if you don't get it right, or they want it done a sort of different way, then you're doing it time and time again, and you're trying to sort of analyse yourself in a way. And it's quite easy to beat yourself up a little bit. So yeah, they are under a lot of pressure, and sometimes you'll meet actors and you think, well, not very friendly, but then you actually realise and you look at them a little bit and you can see them going through stuff in their mind.
Yeah, concentrating.
Constantly going through, and they just want to get it right, same as we do. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, you're obviously going to get some with big egos that are going to be not the nicest people, and it might not be the pressure of the film set. They might be like it in real life. So you just got to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, even as much as you can, really.
Yeah. Have you got a favourite stunt you've done in a film? What's your favourite sort of? I suppose you do so many.
Yeah.
Too many to choose from, but
I am a big petrol head. I love crashing cars.
Yeah.
I love drifting and donutting and. Everything with cars, I'm just absolutely mad. I mean, I love everything. I mean, I love the fight stuff. I love all of it. But yeah, for me, cars is my thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love them.
The crashes and
crashes and tricks, and I'd love to do some of the. I mean, one of the things that did inspire me was one of the films, Hooper, done by Hal Needham. One of the greatest stuntmen out there. He's one of the pioneers whose shoulders that we stand on, and the stunts in that. I mean, people think they're pushing the boundaries of stunts now. You look back at the stuff these guys did back in the day, and they were pushing the boundaries to give us the lessons we learned of what the human body, what vehicles, what stunts are capable of back then. And some of the things that guy did, amazing. And lots of other guys. I mean, there's some huge names in stunts, and even you say their names and people will go, who?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. There's no sort of awards for stunt guys, is there? Because obviously you get the Oscars and stuff, but
yeah.
The stuntmen don't really get the recognition that they deserve, do they?
Not in a way. I mean, there is the Taurus Awards. I mean, that's a massive industry awards where stunt guys are awarded the award by the stunt industry. So that's quite a nice accolade. I mean, that's something that is amazing, because if your peers are saying you've got an award, then I mean it's pretty special, because a lot of people don't understand the work it takes and the amount of stuff we have to do to get our job done. So yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of pressure on the Oscars and sort of awards like that don't have an award for stunts. I think the general consensus from the boards of these sort of places is that they don't see stunts as an art form, which I beg to differ. I think it's as much an art form as every single part of a film.
Without the stunts, the film wouldn't get, wouldn't be so spectacular,
That's
would it?
I mean, if you've got an action film without stunts, well, it's not an action film, is it?
No.
So they do deserve recognition in my eyes. There's some phenomenal guys out there doing incredible things, and they need recognition, not just from their peers, but from the industry itself. Everyone that takes part in a film, every department deserves a form of recognition if they've gone above and beyond and they've done something amazing. You see costumes, you hear the music, all these things that make up everything you see, and all the stuff behind the scenes that you don't see. The makeup, all the work they do before you even get on set. Yeah. Every single person that makes a film work deserves some. If there's a film recognised award for films in general, and it's going to split into categories, then the categories should cover everyone on a set, really. Yeah.
How many sort of hours and that go into these sort of, like a fight scene? How much training hours to do that shoot?
I mean, it could be weeks, could be months, depending on your budget. you get some films that will say, right, we've only got a week's worth of rehearsal budget. Can we do it? And you pull out. All you can say is, we'll give you the best you can get within that time.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have more time, you can get more elaborate. You can get a lot more stuff done and get people a lot happier with it. But yeah, there is constraints on budgets. Some films will help you. Some won't see the value in what they think is throwing money at just practicing. But obviously practice makes perfect with everything. Yeah. So the more you do, the better you get. You've only got to look at the work Keanu Reeves did for John Wick. You know what I mean? The tactical shooting that he did, the mixed martial arts he did. It was months and months of absolute dedication. And it shows. You mean he's gone on screen and absolutely kicked ass. You mean he's changed films again. You mean you get certain films that when they come along, like the Bournes did when the first Bourne come out, and everyone went, "Oh wow, look at that!" And
takes it up to another level, doesn't it?
So, and and that's down to his practice. It's down to his spirit to push and get it done.
Yeah.
You mean the guy knocked out the park?
Could I just ask you, Mark? Obviously, all these different dangerous stunts and that you've done. Have you ever got injured doing any stunts?
No. To be honest,
never gotten injured.
No, it's and that's the thing. If you practice well, if you train well, if you risk assess it well, because that's the other thing. These guys that sort of are around 2 minutes and think they can stunt coordinate, they haven't gone through all the training in all the different aspects of what we do. They haven't gone through how to risk assess it. I mean, how to do a script breakdown, how to implement everything and give people the right tasks, or pull in people if you haven't got people for that task. So if you do it well, then the whole job is it's a bit like bodyguarding. You mean bodyguarding, if you do it well, it's fairly, it's a mundane job, because if you do all your research, you do all your prep and do all your planning, it shouldn't go wrong. So that's kind of what I sort of wanted to bring into the stunt world, is my principles of bodyguarding. It's, if you train well and you plan well and you assess and do everything properly and keep practicing and get it right, then the windows for error are very small. So
just going into, so obviously you run your own stunt school, is that correct?
Yeah, I've got a team.
Yeah. So if someone wanted to get into the stunt world, could they contact you and go into that path? We do have open sessions for people who just want to come along and train. We have experience days if people just want to come along and just have a go at certain aspects of what we do. But yeah, we do get people. We don't sort of go out actively looking for people to join the team, because I feel personally, as the head of a team, I want to be able to get the guys sufficient work. Yeah. And the bigger the team, the bigger the pressure on me is to get more work. And if I can confidently get work for those people, then not a problem. I'll advertise it and I'll go out there. But we've got a crew of about a dozen people, and then we've got like a secondary pool of names that we can pull on if we do need more people. So. But there are people that want the same as we want, because what we want is completely different. I mean, the film industry is about a lot of people that want to go out and do their own thing and be the best they can, and that's great. That's the way they want to do it. I've always been a sort of team player where, again, because of the doors, if you have a jacket filler, that's somebody who's put you in danger. Close protection, same thing. If your team's not got your back, then somebody could be dead. Or a task isn't done properly. So we thought actually that'd be quite a nice way of doing it, to have a team with that same ethos, that all they want to do is work with each other, support each other, push each other, train each other. Just help each other in every way. It means you're not competing with each other for things. You're actually working as a group. And a lot of people don't want that. They want to come get some skills and think they can go out and do it. And fair play, if that's how people want to do it. There's no right and wrong in this. There's lots of people that go out there and do their own thing and do well. What I will say is people have to be wary of the fact that if these people can't do a risk assessment, can't do a script breakdown, if all they've got is they can punch and kick a bit in front of a camera, that's not a stunt performer. It's not a stunt coordinator. People need to do their due diligence and look into these things. Are they insured? What stunt insurance have they got? And their team. So there's all these things before you even go, yes, you're the stunt guy for us. Yeah.
And we pride ourselves on.
I suppose that could be how accidents can happen, isn't it? By using a guy that's not qualified enough.
Yeah. I mean, we've sort of we've had people phoning us up asking, "Oh, I want to do this. Can you give me a risk assessment for it?" And you go, "Well, no. Why would I want to put my name to anything that you're going to do when you're not trained to do it?" It's I mean, it's sometimes it's Productionz wanting to cut corners, and they go, "Oh, bring my mate in. He's done a bit of this and that." And I mean, these things are going to happen now and again, but it's one of those things. If you want the best for your job, if you want the safest people doing it, then do the research. There's some great independents out there now. I mean, they're few and far between. There's a lot of independent stunties out there, and there's a lot of bad ones. But equally, there is a lot of good ones. You just got to do your research a little bit more. That's the real key.
Yeah, Mark, would you just better tell the viewers all your details where they can find you if they want to look into you? Or
yeah, sure. You can catch our website. It's www.MovieWorksInternational.com. It's got our IMDb links on there. It's got pictures of our team on there, and then you click on the team link, and you can have the stats for that person if you want to specific look for certain roles. We're on Facebook, MovieWorks Stunt and Fight Crew. We've also got an action casting page, so look for MovieWorks action casting on Facebook as well. We're on Instagram, MovieWorks on set shenanigans, so just what we do, fighting about on set.
But before we start to wind it up, Mark, have you got any funny stories to tell us from the film industry? Probably
the funniest was I was doing a glass stunt, and there's two types of glass you can use. You can use the sort of polymer-based glasses that are breakaway glasses, are specifically made from a resin that when you go through, it's safe and it will breaks into big shards and looks effective. But sometimes, depending on what the result you want, and also if people are filming through it, sometimes it's better to use the real thing. So what we tend to use, if you use normal glass, it'll break into big shards and it's deadly. So we use even the plate glass the toughened glass that you use in like patio doors and stuff. Yeah. Which, as you see in the adverts, they're dropping big weights against and bounce off it. So obviously we're not going to hit that and go through it. So what we do, we pull in an armourer. So we pulled in a good friend of mine, and they put detonators on the edge of the glass, so that just before you hit it, the detonator hits the glass and it just crazes it just as you're going through it. Oh, wow. So, and that way, it looks like you're going through it. It feels like you're going through it in a way, but it just looks great. Softened it before you impact it. Just causes the fracture so that you can go through. So, got it all set up, and it was a piece about sort of 7 foot tall, about 5 foot wide, 4 or 5 foot wide, something like that. And he's done all the tests on the remote, and everything was all the tests were fine. But what we didn't realise was there was like an intermittent pulse created by Wi-Fi senders, because it was an old house that had wide walls. They had all these Wi-Fi boosters everywhere, and it hadn't shown up when the tests were when he was testing the bit of kit. So I've come running into the scene. This woman shoots me. I go flying against this glass, and it was like a giant pigeon. I've just gone boom. There's like a drum on the inside. It just bounced back off. Bounced off this glass. And he's gone, I think I'll hardwire it. I think we've got problems with the Wi-Fi. Pick yourself up off the floor, dust yourself down. And then next time he's hardwired it, he's hit it, and I was going through the glass. And it was. But again, another funny thing on that one was I had my son as the medic on it, because he's a paramedic, trained paramedic. So I pulled him in as a medic, and that's the first time he's seen me do anything like that. And I had to explain to him, right, well, we have to block our nasal cavity and block our ears and not open our eyes until we're safe to. So I said to him, right, the stunt guy's going to come in with you, my safety guy. He's going to basically give me some tissue to clear my nose. I'm going to pull my earplugs out. He's going to blow away any little shards around my eyes, and then he'll tell me when it's safe to open my eyes. So he was. I mean, the look on his face when all I had was a tiniest little nick on one part of my hand, and he's gone, oh, bloody hell! I can't believe it. So he loved it, but he was like, it was that sort of level of relief at the end of it. Yeah, all over. Yeah. So Mark, I just wanted to ask you a few questions. There's a lot of strange stuff hanging around your gym here. Can you talk us through this? Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things we either make for Productionz or we'll buy stuff in. And I mean, people think that foam props are specifically for hitting people, But I mean, as you can see, I mean, it is quite squishy, and it is. I mean, it's
nice and soft.
It's nice and soft, but some of them are a little bit harder. I mean, if you look at the hammers and things like that, I mean, it's soft and it's rubbery, but you wouldn't want to be hitting a head full ball with it. It's still going to hurt. So it really is a case of going. You mean, just because it's a soft prop, it's not so you can hit. It's so that if you do hit.
Right. So you don't actually hit them with it.
You can do sometimes. I mean, you know yourself. I mean, for those of you who don't know, Lee's a bit of a ringer. He's been on films with us and he trains with us. And with these ones, a nice little trick. We put banana and some sort of fake blood in here, and then you go whacking someone on the head. So from that side, it's looking like a brick. And we put it in the frog so that when you hit him on the head and you get the transfer of all the banana, it looks like brains and all the blood coming out of there. He's had a bit of that. So there is times when you would impact, like body hits with a baseball bat. I mean it looks pretty realistic.
It looks like wood, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's nice and squishy, but I mean you wouldn't really want to hit someone full bore on the head with it. But you do a body hit with it. It's quite effective because they can bend right over, and you know it's not really going to hurt very much. I mean, if you hit hard with it on the head, it's definitely going to hurt. So it's not really a case of going, oh, it's a foam prop, we can hit him as hard as you can on the head. It's still not going to be a good day at the office.
Yeah.
Show them the pipe.
Some of these look like dead real, don't they? You wouldn't know the difference.
No, you wouldn't. And that's the thing. I mean, if you've got something like that, and especially when it's swinging, and this is the other thing, if you swing it full bore. And we're filming at 24 frames a second on a lot of films, unless they're ramping up for specific reasons, then it's just a blur. So same as punches. You punch at full speed, it's not going to read on camera. So a lot of these, when you hit with them, you want the camera to see it.
Yeah.
You want to be able to sort of see it in motion, not go just a blur of nothingness.
I think that's what gives you the image, isn't it? It's the showing of what you've got. Yeah. It's the wow factor.
Same thing when what we were saying earlier. You don't just sort of all of a sudden go. It's a case of going, I'm going to hit you with this pipe. Look at it. And you give them the face and you give them the whack.
I suppose that's like on the horror films, the killer walk around with a knife.
Yeah, sort of. Exactly, yeah.
And what was the law on them guns you was talking about?
Yeah, can we just go for a little bit with the guns on set?
I mean, we haven't cleared this one because it's a plastic one. It's just a plastic training one, solid plastic all the way through. We use for sort of gun training. When it comes to guns, we'll go on set if it's just something stunt based. We're taking plastic ones on like this. We can do that. I mean, as stunt is. But when it comes to guns, I mean, as you can see, what's hit the news recently, pull in a good armourer because you can't beat a good armourer. If you've got someone who knows what they're giving you, why they're giving you it, is it clear? You mean, are they using breech flags or are they not? Or are they just leaving the mags out or emptied all the time? You mean, there's basic principles. And then even with a plastic gun, we always teach people so that when you get on set and you're working with a good armourer, you can inspire confidence in the armourer by going, right, okay, no matter what sort of gun it is, if it's a plastic gun like this, we don't point it directly at someone. We have trigger discipline, muzzle awareness, all the same principles that you'd have with a real gun. Yeah. Don't point it at anything you don't want to kill or destroy. So we get into the habit of doing that with these plastic ones and learning how to drop the mags and change the mags and walk around with them so that when we get onto a film and you're working with an armourer, they can see straight away that you mean, if I'm going to shoot you on camera, quite often, depending on the angle of the camera, I don't even have to point it at you. Right, yeah. So even with something like this, you avoid pointing it. Even with blanks,
there has been a couple of deaths on set through guns, isn't there? Yeah. I mean, years ago.
Each one they've learned from. Yeah.
Killed, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it's horrific when it happens. It's happened. There's quite a few that haven't really hit the headlines because they weren't well-known people, but it's happened quite a few times. And each time you think it's taught a lesson to the industry and it's not going to happen again. But that's what we hope for. But yeah, it's terrible when it happens, and it could destroy more than one or two people's lives.
Do you think that's from knowledge of people not knowing what they're doing, or
being given? I think you need a good armourer.
From the person giving them out should be responsible for that.
Yeah, well, it's a combination. I mean, if you've got a good armourer, the armourer will train you prior, or make sure you're trained prior by one of their people. When they're on set, they will have certain principles. You will sign guns in, you will sign guns out. You won't load them up until you're ready to shoot the scene. They'll ensure that all the principles that they want in place for safety are done. And if they're not, they won't hand you the gun. Yep. Doesn't matter what production says. A good armourer will go, no, he's not safe with a gun. We either give him some more tuition, or we do it with a rubber, or we do it with no ammunition in it, or there are going to be times when people don't listen, or they're not. They just thought, oh yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's a blank. I've had a phone call once upon a time. Someone asking me how close they could shoot a blank firing pistol at someone, and I said, get yourself an armourer. That's my advice to you, because you're going to kill someone.
A blank can kill someone.
Yeah,
really?
Without a doubt, because it's got a little wad in there. It's got. If you've got a front venting blank fire, they're illegal now in the UK. They're all top vented. So sort of, if you think in terms of, you've got your blank. If you've got a muzzle flash this long coming out the front, you've got the wad that stopped that. That's created by the actual blank bullet itself. So you've got your primer, and you've got your gunpowder, and then you've got your wad. So yes, there's no lead on it, but even the percussion past that flame is going to be quite horrific. And then if there's a bit of debris in the muzzle, or the wad hits someone, you could kill someone just simply with the debris that's coming out. So yeah, I mean that's why there's if you've got a pistol, depending on, because you'll have certain charges of rounds, you'll have half charge rounds and things like that. I mean, I don't know too much about the specific rounds that the armourers use, but you'll have rounds that you put in a real weapon, so you get all the cycling advantages, but it actually doesn't emit anything because it's just gas inside. They're silent practice rounds. So there's some very safe ways of doing it. There's some ways that you have to be very, very on the ball. But I mean, basic rule of thumb is if you never point at anyone, no matter what's in it, then you're in a good position.
So Mark, just going back to them props there, can we have a look what you can do with them and what sort of things are
we're capable of? Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go.
Just turn, yeah. So we'll go slow, boom, so he matches the speed. And then again, if we go too quick, it's not really going to sell. So if I go sort of 20 or 30% faster than that, he's not going to crick his neck because he's warmed his neck up. And then we go, sell it, we're showing the camera, look at me, boom! So straight away, you're starting to sell the angles and starting to make it look like you're hitting him. So that was a non-contact blow. If you look at contacts, this is what I'm saying about this. So this is where you can go, boom! You're hitting him and you're just bouncing off him. And it's nice and soft and sort of squishy, so you can have a contact, so you don't need to hide the air because there isn't any. So what you can do is, like when you're going in, you hit him in the gut, boom, and then you get hit in the back, boom. And even if you want to do it for 10 takes, yeah, you probably want to put a back pad in or something, some knee pads, so when you go and hit the deck. So there are times when you can hit, and times when you can't. But yeah, you definitely don't want to be doing that.
Just hit him again, Mark. I like that.
What's more?
Yeah, just hit him again. What was?
How many times?
I hit a 5 or a hit.
But if you wanted to hit him in the head with this, then if we do that same principle of going and doing an over-the-shoulder shot, so from here, I'm going to go boom through the head, and he's going to sell it. So it's a mixture of me showing you the weapon. So we're going to go that way now. So again, what you do, you make sure you've got the safe distance. And then you go, ready, 3, 2, 1, action, bang! So he's selling it, I'm giving the action, he's giving the reaction. So we're just creating that illusion. Yeah, I mean, it would have to be quite a high shot. If it's a higher shot, you can come at it and sort of go down and through the head, so that as you sort of sink in, it looks like it's actually buried in your skull. Yeah, a little bit too early, so it's the same thing, but 3, 2, 1, action, boom! So a little bit of a mismatch. So and that's where the rehearsals come in. What you're going to do on set, you're not going to get a cue from me. You're going to hear the director going, right, okay, 3, 2, 1, action, and we'll be interacting in some way. And then my cue is, I'm going to hit you. So sometimes this signposting is because if I just go, if you go 3, 2, 1 action and I go whack, he's not going to be ready, he's got no cue. So sometimes it's just about going, there's your cue, smack. So yeah, so they're all nice and safe and used well, they're even safer. So I practice it first and then as you come through, you're going to step and just cut to there.
Just straight down, yeah?
Yeah, that's it. So push your hands out a little bit, try not to pull them to your belly. Yeah, so push them out a little bit more, that's it, so you're cutting and pushing at the same time. Just like you're cutting and pushing through the body. Yeah, so as you do that, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to move to the side and put it up through your guard and cut your arms off. What you're doing is you're putting your trust in my technique, because in reality that's to go up to the eyes. So what I'm doing as you come in, I'm slipping it in through the guard here, turning here and cutting, and then when I get to here, I'm able to turn and throw. We're moving up through here, that turns through here, blade's cutting in here, and then we're turning, locking here. It's just a nice little interception trick that's done in Japanese sword.
Okay, Mark. Right, we're starting to wind it up there, Mark.
Oh, awesome.
Thank you ever so much for coming.
Mate. Awesome.
Much
Great to see you,
appreciated.
mate. Awesome.
Tune in, check it out.